Welcome to Mr. Fear. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a scary story from a small village in England of two friends who had the strangest walk home. If you're new to Mr. Fear, please hit the like and subscribe button. I went to the pub with some friends one night after work. I got a lift with my friend Josh. The pub was in a small village on the edge of the canal, the perfect spot for a pint after a long day of work. It was Friday night and we had a great week at work and hit all of our targets. The drinks were flowing, and Josh decided we would leave the car at the pub and walk back to his place. It was only a 30-minute walk away. It got to 11:30 and the landlady rung the bell for the last orders. We had one more beer for the road. It was late November and freezing outside. We grabbed our coats and started walking to the canal. The moonlight shined on the canal, offering a nice natural light. You could smell the coal burners from the canal boats. We continued walking and approached a bridge in the distance. We noticed a black figure stood in the middle of the bridge, with their back turned to us. We didn't take any notice. We continued walking and laughed about the evening we just had. We got a little closer, and Josh confirmed to me it was a lady stood on the bridge. "Is she mad?" he said. "It's freezing out." As we approached the bridge, I started to get a little nervous. The woman hadn't moved a muscle since the moment we saw her. I couldn't help but look towards her as we walked past the canal bridge. She was pale-faced, with big black curly hair, wearing a black dress. She stood still and stared at the water, not noticing us. We continued walking and didn't want to bother her. We were pretty creeped out and started to walk with a faster pace. Josh looked back and stopped walking. He tapped me on the shoulder. Mate, look." I turned and the bridge was empty. At this stage we were seriously freaked out. We saw a dog running towards us. His owner was calling him back to the boat. We encouraged the dog back to his owner and looked at each other, wondering what had we just seen. The man on the boat thanked us and offered us a cigarette in return for company. We sparked up our cigarettes and I couldn't help but ask the man on the boat some questions. Before I did, he introduced himself as Mark. I asked Mark how long he had lived on a barge for. He said 12 years. I quit my job, sold my house, bought a boat and never looked back. You see some weird things on the canal, especially at night, but there is nothing better than waking up to peace and quiet. Josh responded and said, "Yeah, I think we might have seen something weird as well." Mark stopped, put his cigarette out, and looked both of us in the eyes. "You've seen the black lady, haven't you?" My cigarette fell from my fingers and hit the floor. How did this man, who we've known for no more than 5 minutes, know that we have seen the black lady? I said yes, we saw her on the bridge, staring at the water. Mark said nearly everybody he knows on the canal has seen the black lady at one stage or another. Legend has it she worked at the Black Bear in the town centre and left her husband for another man. She ran to the canal to meet her new lover, only to be met with her husband, who pushed her into the freezing water where she drowned. Me and Josh looked at each other. At this point, we were pretty freaked out. I had never seen a ghost before, and this woman was as real as you and me. She wasn't floating, she was a solid figure. We left Mark to get back to Josh's house, but before we left, Mark said go careful on the way home. I don't want to freak you out further, but the story goes, if you see the black lady, you will see something else before the night is over. Just stick to the canal path. We grabbed our phones and turned the torches on. I said to Josh, let's just talk about anything until we get back to your place. We talked about the most random things to take our mind off walking on the canal path, but every conversation we started turned back to the black lady. I said to Josh, do you think Mark was just joking to play tricks on us? I don't think so, Josh responded. I mean, think about it. He knew about the black lady before you even said what you had seen. We could see the lights of the town centre in the distance, where Josh lived. We began to speed up. As we did, we could hear footsteps coming from behind us. We took it in turns to look behind us, but there was nobody to be seen. We arrived at a bridge. We walked up to the main road. We were a short 5-minute walk away from Josh's house. We felt relieved that we were now away from the canal path and on the main road. Josh lived down a side alley. We got back to his. I grabbed some water and crashed out on his sofa. I couldn't sleep. I was still freaked out of what we had seen. It was 1 AM. I went to the kitchen, put the kettle on to make myself a cup of tea. As I poured the boiling water on the tea bag, all of a sudden, I spilt the boiling water over the kitchen counter. I nervously walked towards the front door. I noticed Josh had a peephole. I looked through it. There was no one stood there. I slowly grabbed the door handle, turned it, opened the door as fast as I could. There was no one out there. I walked onto the footpath and looked around. There was no signs of life. I went back inside. Josh was stood at the top of the stairs. Who was there, he asked. There was nobody there. Was this what Mark meant? That before the night was over, you would see something else? We didn't see anything, but we both heard the door knocking. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and please hit the subscribe button. If you would like your story shared, please write to me at mrfearyoutube@outlook.com.